Hi everyone, today I'm launching my watercolour brushes for Procreate, and this is version 4.1. And I thought to do it I would go through each brush and show you how I would use them, and I'm just going to make up a simple landscape. I've designed them for use really with landscapes and portrait work because that's the area I work in most. So I'm sure if you see how I use them here, you will be able to adapt them accordingly. So I'm going to export them as a set called SCA for Steve Elliott Art Watercolour, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 13 brushes. That's unlucky. Perhaps I should have thought of invented another one. So I'm kind of going to go through them. I might not do them all in order. I might pick them out as I would if I was doing a painting. So I'm going to do a little landscape. So I'm not going to mess about with the palette. I'm just going to pick the colours straight off the colour circle for this. So I'm going to begin with a sky colour. So let's go for sort of a bluey grey. There we go. And the first one is the wet in wet wash. So this is for putting big areas of colour over a page, and you can see if I press on I get a lot stronger colour, and if I do it lightly I can get light areas of colour, and it gives this nice sort of wet in wet diffused look where the clouds could be. So that's the first brush. The second, and I add that set to about just over 3/4 max size and full opacity. The second one is wet in wet brush 2. This is a bit smaller. I'll change the colour slightly, and you can sort of go in there. In fact, I think I'm going to go for a sort of a sunset. Let's do a sunset. Maybe some yellow. Let's see what we can get. I'm all on one layer at the minute. Get a bit smaller so I can press on and get a stronger effect. Just by touching it lightly I can kind of soften it a bit. Let's up the colour redder. Oh, I meant to use my watercolour paper as well, because that's kind of a huge part of this pack, and I've modified the paper. It works a lot. The original one I did left a kind of a grey cast on the old print, which wasn't it sort of made the painting look a bit dark. So I've adjusted the depth of that. So I will load that up in a second. So here we go. Into the sky a bit. So that's the second brush. I'm going to go to the let's see. Yeah, I'm going to go to a lifting out brush. right at the bottom. Now the lifting out brushes can be used with the eraser, so I will use it with the eraser, or they can use with white paint. And the idea for that is you can use them to lift colour out. And if I zoom in, you'll see it's got that kind of furry edge, the wet in wet. And it looks great if you're doing lines. If you want to lift out a line, it gives you that really sort of fuzzy watercolour look. And then I have some blending tools, and now the blending tools, I have a small wet blending brush and a regular blending brush. So I choose the small one for this, so you can then go in there, just sort of blend that out a bit. Keeping this sort of watercolour looking effect. I could go in, I'm going to choose the lifting out brush and actually put a yellow colour on it. I can get a stronger yellow. Just sort of, whoops, yeah, that's what we're looking for. This is a weird looking painting, I have to say. It's kind of not really where I thought I would be going with this. Right, I think I need to strengthen up the sky somewhat, so I'm going to go back to my wet in wet brush and choose a darker blue. Put it off a bit. Just pop that in there. Just to give the sense of the fact that the sun is actually going down a bit. Right, cool. Now then, what have we got next? Sea wash brush. Now this can be used to put on a much more even colour. So if I want to kind of I'm going to do a field in front of this. So I want sort of a browny colour. That will do. So you can use this to put on a wash that's much more even. There we go. Oh, and I'm still working on one layer here. So that's what that brush is for. I can, I suppose, reduce the size of that just to get kind of a bit of a sharper edge if I want. There we are. And the next brush, wet in wet round brush. So this is a smaller brush, and I can use this to sort of put in distant trees, I suppose, let's say. What colour? I suppose I should be thinking about aerial perspective. I could kind of go bluey grey. Let's try that. And I can put in this wet in wet. Imagine your paper sort of started to dry. It's not fully dry yet. You can see it's a much smaller brush. Put them in the wrong place. Just take them out. I really want them here. That's better. I should really have another layer at this point. I think I'll create one in a second. So anyway, you get the idea with this one. So another wetting wet brush. I can use my blending brush again just to soften them up a little bit. Oops, too much. No. The next brush is the dry on wet round brush. So this is, imagine using sort of dry paint. Well, it's not dry obviously, but there's not a lot of water content in it, and we can use this to get this kind of almost, you see the brush strokes appearing. Change the colour slightly. You can go for a red, I guess. The sun's sort of catching that a bit. So it's still sort of really moody, wet in wet work that we're doing here. Put these distant trees in. Take the blender just to push that about a bit. And the next brush is a glazing brush, I believe. Yeah, a glazing. So this one, as you add strokes, they build up slightly. So you see it as I'm overlapping them, it gets darker and darker and darker. So imagine putting a glaze of paint on there and letting that dry. Nice soft effect. Could go with some red, I guess. I think I've got the blend mode of this set to multiply. Oh, or have I? Possibly. Guess I have. Put some yellow in there. We'll find out now. Maybe not. Right, so that's the glazing brush, and then the rigger, that's a really thin brush, so I can use that to put in branches and tree trunks and things. So I think I'm actually going to go around to the blue scale here, and just so that we can see these are trees, I'll just take the opacity down a bit. Maybe not. I can change the colour, it's a bit dark. So you can see I can use that to flick in branches. So getting a little bit of a scene going off there. I've looked at the blending brushes. The round brush, dry brush, now this allows us, I think I'll leave that a bit. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to come back to, I'm going to create a new layer now actually. And I'm going to put a tree in the foreground. And I think I will use the dry wet on wet round brush for this. I'll stick with that colour for a second, and see what, let's not have it going straight up. Very arty, is it? Not that either. I'm just sort of drawing in a tree. Obviously making this up. Right. There we go. Actually, I'm bring it down a bit further. I'm using my eraser actually just to. Oh! I deleted the layer somehow. Oh well. So I'm still on one layer. Does not matter. I'm lifting out this colour and I'm using the lifting out brush, the smaller one. I can use this as well if I use it really small to put in some light branches. A bit too heavy that, I'll just take the opacity down. That's better. So I'm lifting colour away. It's a bit more like lightning branches that. Right, go back to my brush again and put in some I should be using my rigger really. Let's go to the rigger. Oops, a bit too thick. I'm taking a risk doing all this on one layer, I have to say. Because there's no going back. This is a great brush, this rigger. Right, I'm going to go back to my small wetting wet brush. Take the size down. I suppose I could stick with that colour. And let's start putting some form to this tree. I suppose I've got to lose those lines really. I am really pleased with these brushes. I've put a lot of work into getting them right. And they will be available on the website. So if you head on over there for a download, it will be free. But if you want to make a donation, that will be much appreciated because it will help me support this channel and buy new equipment and software to try out. So, but you know, if you use Strap for Cash, that's fine. Just download them. I'm very happy for you to have them and use them and spread the word. You know, let everybody know that they can get these brushes for free. It's not the best painting I've ever done in the world, I must admit. But it is just a demo, isn't it? I'm using the lifting out brush again now, just to... I've made a mess of this branch, but there's not a lot I can do about it now because it is on all on one layer. I recommend when you use these brushes that you do mix it up a bit with the layers. Right, I need that wetting wet brush again. I'm just dropping bits of colour in here as I would if I was doing a regular watercolour. Just add a bit of interest to it. Some yellow. I don't suppose it's too bad. Have I used my dry brush? Let's see. I want to use this dry flat brush. So yeah, we've not used that one yet. I think that's the only one I've not used. I'm going to choose a brownie colour. And this would be used for dragging a brush that's loaded with paint, but not much water. To sort of, you can use it to put in highlights, sparkles on water and things and stuff like that. Here we go. I guess here you could use it for like grass. Yeah, let's put some green in. So the clumps of grass. Not so sure if the green's working. Well, that's tied the tree down a little bit, I think. As I say, this isn't really a painting about a painting. This is just to highlight the brushes. Show you how I would use them. Get that blending brush. I think I'm going to use the larger one. Yeah, I can smudge them out. And so you can push highlights into it where the paint's lighter. And go back to the rigger again. And just flick a few blades of grass in. And I think it's a bit grey and dingy there. So if I choose, well, I've still got the rigger. I'm going to change the colour to almost white. And just flick. There we are. A few highlights where the sun is catching. Adding some highlights to it. Could even have another little, this is a gamble. Let's see what we get. A little tree like that. So there we go. So we're nearly there now. I am going to create a new layer. This time I'm going to lock this one. I'm going my new layer just to put some finishing touches in it. So choose my rigger brush, which I've got selected. I'm going to go for a darker colour, and I just want to pick up this. Actually, that's too thick. I'm going to take the thickness down a little bit. That's better. Here we go. And I'm just sort of putting some branches in with my rigger. It's called a rigger because this brush would be used by artists that would be painting rigging on ships. That's a bit too much. That's better. And quite happy with that. Maybe I should bring that down a little bit as well. I guess that could be like a light rim around that. A few more grasses in there. And I'm going to change back to my dry flat brush. No, round brush, I think. I'll keep that colour, and I'm just going to see if I can put a bit of ground, this sort of, I don't know, cloud field or whatever. Yeah, and I'm going back to my back up to here to See Wet in Wet Wash 2. This is a smaller wash brush. I'm going to choose a yellow. I want to sort of put this light, this yellow sunset thing on the ground, and then some red or orange. A bit of red and a bit of red. Whoops. Maybe a little bit more around here as well, strengthen that up. I think, in actual fact, that would probably... What have I got selected here? I'll use this small blending brush, I think, just to blend that down a bit, because I felt I'd gone a bit too high. Let's push that back. Blend that in. There we are. And I can use, if I want to put a few highlights in the clouds, I've locked that there. I suppose I ought to go back to it. Unlock it. I can use the lifting out brush with a bit of white. There we go. So it's just the light under the clouds. Maybe make it a bit yellow. Orange even. Just knock the opacity back a bit. Here we go. Like too much. I'm taking it out. Didn't like it. Just blend this back a bit. I think all I need now really is some leaves on the trees. So I'll go back to this layer, and I think I'm going to use my glazing brush for this. And should we put some sort of autumn or last days of autumn orangey type leaves on there? Too big. Let's see. So you can see this is like leaving, it's translucent. You can see the colours underneath. And I just want to go for a darker colour, go back to my rigger and just sort of put a few final branches in here. I think, you know, when you do trees, it's really easy to make the branches too thin and they wouldn't actually support themselves. They would snap. So you've got to be a little bit careful and make sure that you actually are not too shy to give that branch a bit of formal body, if you like. So I'm quite liking this now. I think we're nearly there, you know. I think we're nearly there. Yep, that is it. We've just got time to sign it. One final thing, I just want to import my textured paper into this. This is going to be included in the kit as well. So I've just imported that in. I'm going to move it to the top of the stack. And I'm going to change the blend mode to multiply. And now you can see I've got the textured paper on my watercolour. So that is the finished painting. This texture will also be included in the kit as well that you can download. And I want to say thanks for watching this video with me. Please head on over to my website Links in the description below. Get yourself a set of these brushes. They are free, but if you want to make a contribution, it would be appreciated. And happy painting, and thank you all so much for supporting my channel. You're a great crowd. I don't think I've ever said that before. It means a lot for all the messages you put in the comments below and everything. I think we're getting a real community going along here. So thank you so much. And if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Oh, and don't forget to like the video as well if you've enjoyed it. And please consider subscribing, because I have lots of videos like this and I would love to be sharing them with you. So hopefully I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.